So with that, we'll invite on Don Mitchell to come and perform.
In honor of us changing states. Are you ready? Hold on. I have it. We're in Maine now.
Nice. Sweet
Yeah.
Maine background.
There you
Don,
go.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
It's great to be here in Maine with both of you.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the trip. It's very quick.
So Don, we'll turn it over to you now, but looking forward to your set.
Thanks for having me. Great. Well, in the words of the immortal song, I think we're alone now. So I'm Don. I'm from a band called Darlingside. I normally don't come out from behind the tender shield of my three wonderful bandmates. We sing in harmony and we do almost nothing by ourselves. So this is an uncomfortable but productive day for me here, and I would only do it for something so important as taking back that Senate. I am not a Mainer, but I am a Democrat, and I'm trying to act blue. I'm wearing blue, and it's actually a little bit too hot, so that's another thing that's sort of hailing back to my days when I did live in Maine. I now live in Massachusetts, sadly. One of the bigger mistakes. I don't recommend it to any of you who are in either Texas or Maine or anywhere else, really. But one of the only things we do have going for us is that our Senate is bluer than the ones in Texas and Maine. So I'm going to start with a song. It's the latest one that our band has released. It's called, what is it called? I always forget because we had this working title for it that was named after the instrument, this little synthesizer, and so we called it Septivox Pop, but that's a terrible song name because it's not a pop song and it's not played on that instrument anymore. A Light On in the Dark, that's what it's called. Great. Take slight hope, but cautious hope from this song, I hope. Are you swimming with the fish pond fish, looking for oceans in the saltlessness? Are you spinning in and out of true pink moon playing in the dead of noon? And here you are, as nowhere as a northern star. You're a light on in the dark. Goodbye, goodbye, it's time to go. Time is a figment on a fig tree road. Open the door and let the flood back in. Drift out of yourself and let the day begin. Roller coast into the aster bloom. Drift out of yourself and let the day begin. And here you are, as nowhere as a northern star. You're a light on in the dark. A light on in the dark. Under the unfolding angle of the sun, setting is a rising soon to come. Ooh. Come in. pastures in the afternoon. You're a light on in the dark. A light on in the dark. Thank you. I imagine great applause. I imagine hooping and hollering. I imagine people pulling out their phones and looking up, how can I register to vote? I imagine people thinking to themselves, how do I turn Maine and Texas blue? I guess I'm just going to start imagining those things and then even responding as though you've told me those things. So I hope you don't mind that I just put words completely in your mouth for the rest of the show, because that's the awkwardness of the whole Zoom format, but it's the best that we've got. So moving on to the next song before I talk you to death. This next one, if I can find my capo here, is this next one is called The God of Loss, and it was based on some lyrics that my bandmate Oyan wrote initially upon finishing the book The God of Small Things. And so pulled some imagery from that, and we haven't heard from the author that she dislikes it. So again, on this basis of sort of assuming the best when you don't get pushback, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is endorsed by the author, and that she loves it, and that she also is a huge Sara Gideon fan. I just wanted to put that out there. Arundhati Roy, huge Sara Gideon fan, and she would just love it if you would donate and vote and help your friends register to vote and all of those fun things. I'm hearing some whoop whoops even through the chats. I just confirming what I was already hearing in my head. It's beautiful. It's like we're reclaiming the echo chamber here, I think is what we're doing. All right, what are we doing next? This is going to be fun. I'm going to do a tune that's called Old Friend, and it's a slightly older tune from the band that I'm in. But that I wrote while I was living in Maine, which was only an 8-month period. So there are fewer songs written in Maine from that period than ones written from Massachusetts. And the band never bothered to learn this song. I can't believe those guys, they were probably off voting and helping to drive the progressive cause forward. I can only assume by not learning this tune, but I have finally learned the tune, and now I'm going to force them, I think, to learn it. But I learned it for you today, and it talks about compromise and differences of opinion and a little bit of religion in there, and I hope we can draw something from it. But I think I'm personally just going to wait on the compromise part until after we take back the Senate, and then at that point, I think that's when we'll be in a position to do some more compromising. One of the most main things about this performance today for me, which is taking place actually in Waltham, Massachusetts, but one of the most main things I realized about my setup today is that I only have 2 instrument stands, and I'm using 3 instruments during the performance today. So for the third stand, I used my camping chair. It's a fold-up camping chair, and something about that to me embodies some of the main spirit that's still in my heart. I lived there twice, 2 different periods of my life. Once right after college when I was trying to be a bird biologist. In fact, as I was setting up for this, I found this book, A Birder's Guide to Maine, to prove to you my credentials and why I should have any credibility whatsoever in talking to you about Maine. Texas. I don't know if I have anything to prove my allegiance to Texas other than just to say that I've enjoyed my visits there very much. Old friend, I think of you still sometimes, sure as the oak is bending into the light. You and I looked for a compromise when you said, did I not believe in your heaven? Old friend, I think of you still sometimes, sure as the river bends, sure as the river bending into the light. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you. Yes, it's time for this guitar to repair to its camp chair and take it in. And let's see, next up, I've printed off some lyric sheets for some of the older ones, just so I get at least the first words of those verses. All right, we've got our first banjo tune. It's going to be serious. By the way, one exciting thing in these lyric sheets I thought that I would share with you all is as I was printing these off from downstairs, my wife upstairs noticed that things were coming through on the printer and decided to play a prank on me. And instead of bringing me down my lyric sheets, she came down with, I think, 4 to 5 pages worth of this. And it says, all work and no play makes Don a dull boy, as though I were sort of doing a Shining scenario for her, and she came down pretending to defend herself. Anyway, so that's just a little window into what's going on here in our world. So, Katie, if you can hear this, thanks for bringing me quotes from The Shining instead of my lyric sheets. This next tune is called Singularity, and it's a bit of a sci-fi tune, or at least that's how we thought of it when we were writing it. It's also an end of the world tune, so in that way, I'm calling it a pseudo-fictional song at this point. So, Singularity. A future to avoid through action. shooting star is gonna shoot me down. Burn these high rises back into a ghost town of iridium white clouds matted close against the ground, while the sky hangs empty as a frame. See the reddening horizon line, feel the planets pulling on the space-time. All the way down Somerset, I take pictures of cement for the history books on Mother Earth. To the west now it begins, in the sound waves, in the wind, there is an echo going by me of the mountains caving in and the potted roads, and I knew that one day we would die and become smooth and whole again, like the ash that sweeps the sky. Someday, shooting stars gonna shoot me down. Burn these high rises back into a ghost town. To the west now it begins, in the sound waves, in the wind, there is an echo going by me of the mountains caving in. There's holy water lying in the crater well, heavy metals, high-test gasoline, blessed singularity, a telescoping memory, where the sky still flickers through the leaves. Thank you very much. I imagine that's a future that, while the tune is not terribly unpleasant or aggressive, the future it describes is, so consider. I'm going to do another banjo tune here while we're at it. This one is an old protest tune. Not that old, I guess, but it's a CSNY tune called Ohio that I'm sure they were hoping would be totally irrelevant a few decades hence from its writing. And sadly, it is totally relevant. A lot of people assume that all banjos are out of tune, and that's true to some extent, but there are still more out-of-tune banjos and less out-of-tune banjos, so I'm going to try to be on the out-of-tune, but not egregiously out-of-tune side of banjo playing. Tin soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming for dead in Ohio. Tin soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drumming gunning us down. Should have been done long ago. What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know? Tin soldiers and Nixon's coming. We're finally on our own. This summer I hear the drum for dead in Ohio. Gotta get down to it. Soldiers are gunning us down. Should have been done long ago. What if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? How can you run when you know? For dead in Ohio. 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 That's a heavy one. There's a lot of Ohios out there right now, and it's a tough time to feel isolated. So again, I'm just assuming that community is out there, and y'all are part of it, and are going to go out and channel some of those feelings of despair and isolation, and like the world is crumbling, into a little bit of a nudge in the right direction, whatever that means in your life and whatever's possible. And I'm trying to think of ways to do that myself, and to not just go back to what it was before, but take this as a time of introspection and think about what we want it to become instead when we have the opportunity to go back. Yeah. I'm going to play a song called, let's see, how much time have we even got here? I think I've got time for just one more here, it looks like. Sweet. Radio 1103 says you've got time. Thank you, Radio 1103, for setting this up. It is a logistical ordeal. Let's not call it a hassle, and let's not call it an impossibility. But a lot of the times it doesn't work as well as this one is working. And I just really appreciate the attention to detail here, and I think that's also what's going to translate into good organizing across the board for this coming election. And it's a real honor to be here today with such other fine musicians, even following in Main Zone Ben Cosgrove's footsteps, who is a good friend of mine. It feels really, really good to be here doing this. And I hope that we can all just channel some of these things into taking action for ourselves and on behalf of others. And I think I realized something the other day. I was just talking about the process of early voting, because I had voted. I had filed to vote, with the early absentee voting here in Massachusetts. I'm not sure exactly what the protocol is in Texas and in Maine, but just in describing the very minor details of my experience of doing that vote the other day, I found that by talking out loud about it, someone else that I was around who normally would be very on top of those kind of things, that I was letting them know, that I was giving them a gentle reminder that they needed to be super on top of it and just make double sure that every one of those votes is counted, and that everybody has a good plan for getting there. So I think on the scale of things that anybody can do is just to bring it up, maybe even inappropriately. Someone's like, how's your pizza? Do you like the mushrooms on that pizza? And you could just be like, yeah, I like mushrooms on that pizza. And also, I'm about to drop my ballot in the mail, and here's how I did it. I think even just that that act could be a useful thing out there. At least in this one instance, it was. When I didn't think it would be, I thought this person would be telling me a better way to do it, and I was surprised to find that in this chaotic time, lots of people are just really off their game. They're off their habits. They're not thinking about those things. So don't assume that everybody has a plan, and don't assume that everybody is on the same page, specifically about races other than the presidential race, because I think it's one of those things where that's just going to eat up so much bandwidth that I think talking about the Senate and talking about local government is a thing that you don't hear very much about unless you really seek it out. And so that's a thing, I think, just to keep putting that to the front, because it's gonna get backburnered in all the noise. So at least that's been something I've been thinking about recently, is really trying to talk about local politicians who I know something about, where I have something to contribute to the conversation. And so just, I think, knowing the key details about your people and being able to put that out there is a really valuable asset, even if you're not trying to convince someone to think a certain way. You're just trying to mobilize people who already are on the same page as you. That's just as valuable as convincing someone who's on the fence, is rallying someone who might have forgotten or might have thought that a Senate race or a local government position wasn't worth doing the research to actually know who to put down on that ballot. So I'm going to play this last song here. It's called Ocean Bed. It features a lot of ocean imagery and has the word blue in it a bunch of times. So we'll call that thematic and end on the note of acting blue. And I'm really glad to be associated with this group and really excited about this first Radio 1103 kickoff, and excited to see where it goes from here, and to watch some other amazing musicians who are going to follow in my footsteps. So make sure to tune in, because there's lots more coming. This is just the very first foray. Again, thanks so much for having me. My name's Don Mitchell. I'm in a band called Darlingside, and I pretty much never do this of just being myself. But I'm here today with y'all, and I'm very excited to be. Go vote, donate, etc., organize, and let's take back the Senate. Thanks very much for having me. Down the rocky edges to the churned up wonder of the ocean bed. No, I'm not running, and I never have been to the true blue bottom where the light ends. Old growth forest and the sun in your veins at the daily dawning of a green new age. No one changes with a snap in the air, and you can't repurpose what was never there. Restart in the old familiar dark we're swimming through. Long view into the in a sea creature's dream, in a dreaming drink. No, there's no time for the end over end, and everything to do before dying again. Long view into the blue. Ghost dog running to the churned up under of the ocean bed. No, I'm not running to the true blue bottom where the light ends. Restart in the old familiar dark. We're swimming through long view into the blue.
Yeah, thank you so much, Don. That was really beautiful. We really just appreciate the space you created there.
Thanks very much for having me.
Before you go, is there any way that we know some people have been some writing and asking about your music and how they can support you and things like that. Any places that you'd like to lead them to?
Well, we've got my band Darlingside has darlingside.com, the website where you can find us on all the social media or, streaming services at your leisure. And I've got a personal page somewhere that I'm just in the process of developing, so I'm thinking actually, Brendan, of stealing your background for all my social media pages.
Go for it. I think I definitely looked for Google, safe to reuse for non-commercial, so go, you're more than welcome to.
Oh yeah. Well, thanks so much. Best of luck with everything. And
yeah. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And for those that are also, thinking about how to get involved and have some ability, remember that we've been posting in that chat. We have those streams. It's at actblue.com/donate/radio1103, right? And so whatever you're able to give in this moment, if you have a grandmother that can give, if your mom can give, call your sister because she has that better job, whatever it is, right? You know what I mean? It's times like these that we're trying to really build this community and figure out how to get active. So that's one way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really appreciated that set, and I really actually liked the protest song because that it is a heavy moment that we're in right now with a lot of really important protests going on and a lot of really terrible stuff happening in response. So appreciated that connection.